I'm gonna show you how to digitize this awesome manga panel on the Design Doodler. Let's get started. If you guys have never used the Design Doodler, make sure to click the link in the description so you guys can check out the demo. If you already have the Design Doodler but you don't know how to use it yet, make sure to click this video up here to see a walkthrough from John Deere teaching you how to use the whole program. This has been a highly requested tutorial, so I thought, you know what, let's take care of some anime. I'm gonna click this button down here to open up an image. And I've already selected mine right here called Anime Panel. That looks really cool. Let's select 1:1. Nope, that's a little bit too zoomed in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to click on the properties and zoom out. Just zoom out a little bit so I can scale it up or scale it down. Now I want this manga panel to be 7 inches, so if your doodler isn't set to inches, you can click on the 3 buttons, go to settings, and change the units from metric to imperial. Next, I'm gonna click on the settings, and the width right now is currently at 15. That's a little bit too much, so I'm gonna switch that to 7 inches by 4 inches height. That is perfect. I'm just gonna plop it right there in the middle, center up the image, and now I can go 1:1, 1:3, or 1:6. In the last tutorial, you can see that I created the base of the anime design as red, whereas this background right now is white. And because I'm gonna be doing this test on a white background, I feel like I'm just gonna skip all of the white, so we're gonna be focusing on 2 colors, and that's gonna be the black color and the gray color. And although you can see that there is no border anywhere around, my goal is gonna be to create another rectangle to complete that manga panel style. Let's get started. I'm going to select the single stitch, the run stitch. This is what right now, this is 3mm, that's perfect, and we're gonna use the free draw. Perfect. Actually, before I do the free draw, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a rectangle so that I know where my limits are gonna be. And like we did in the last video, I'm just gonna change the color from black to red so that I know where my limits are gonna be and I don't go beyond them. Let me just take this area and bring it down here. I think that's where I want my limit of the image to be. And again, let me take the limit, and I want to cover just there. I don't think there's a necessity to create those black borders around. That's pretty good right there. Now I'm just gonna change the start and stop of this rectangle run that I created because I think I'm gonna start the design here, so I'd want it to end right there. Perfect. And now that we've done that, we can enable 3D. I'm gonna go 1/3, and let's get started with these details. Switch back to freestyle, and you'll see that I can start digitizing the red. This, I'm gonna do a couple zigzags to give it more of that thicker style because some of these outlines are thicker, and my goal is going to be to avoid jumping and trimming on all over the place of this design. Instead, I want it to be cohesive and for us to have one single shape going throughout the whole color design. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, then make sure to click the link in the description because I'll include the free cheat sheet to learn how to digitize. Let's go all the way around here. We can even try and replicate this little water drop of him sweating, which is awesome. I'll just go around 2 times. Perfect. And let's go this way. Let's do a couple of these, a little zigzag. You can see there are quite a few details which might feel a little bit overwhelming, but I promise you that if you stick to just creating one section at a time, it shouldn't get too difficult. And what I'm gonna do is my goal is gonna be to try and do 2 passes of a single stitch. So a single run like that, but if the shapes are a little bit thicker, then we can add a couple more passes to the design. So let's keep going here. Like for example, right there was a little thicker. So I said, you know what? Let me add those extra ones. Let's move over this area. I think I will finish this part right here. If you really wanted to, you can also do a satin, but I honestly prefer being a single stitch. I feel like it just gives it more of that anime drawn, hand-drawn sketch style. So it looks a lot cooler in my opinion. And this, we're just gonna go up and down, create that up and down feel to it, because these are like the shadow strokes, you could say. And again, we're gonna go back and forth a couple times just to finish that area like that. Awesome, we finished there. So now we can continue this area. And these small details might get covered by the rectangle outline that we're going to create in the end, but I just think it's kind of cool to add them just so that it adds more to those little details at the corners of the design. Again, just go back and forth a couple times. Cool. This looks thicker, so I'm going to add quite a few passes as opposed to just back and forth. Awesome. Now this part, what should I do? I think I'm just going to try and finish this whole area right here and then return. That seems like the most logical option. So I'm going to go around this area and then start doing the passes. So 1 down, 2 up and down, and then start returning. Cool. Here I can stop, do a couple of these. Awesome. This is why I like using the single run. I feel like it just allows me to make more of like a, like a sketch style. It just looks really, really cool. Nice. Very good. And you can see that was really fast. And we return to this part right there. Looks a little dangerous, doesn't it? This guy's definitely angry like our previous character. So, you could see all of the shadows, all of that definition going through the design. Again, I'm just going to add a couple of these. 1, 2, 1, 2. Just quick little, back and forth. Doesn't have to get too specific. I feel like the more specific and exact, it might not look as artistic. But you know what? It just might too. Go up and down, up and down. Awesome. And here, this looks like a very solid shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my fill, and I'm just going to fill this up like that. Perfect. Now I'm just going to create the start right here and stop there. In reality, because I'm not adding a white background to this design, I could just do it everything horizontal, but I think the fact that these single run stitches are going up and down, it just helps that the fill also goes up and down. Cool. Let's keep going. Let me go 1 to 1. Okay, wow, we've done pretty good coverage of that so far. What do you guys think? Should we just finish the rest of the neck? No, let's finish the rest of the chin and work our way around that area. All right, I'm gonna move this way and go right here. Let me create all of these like crazy shape details. That's a lot. It's different strokes, different shapes, different widths. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to just kind of create a bunch of them. I wonder if this might be a little too overkill, but I feel like now that I had the practice from the last design, I can tell that it won't be too bad. And if anything, it'll look really cool if I add that dark gray underneath. So I'm gonna trust myself on that. And for this area right here, I am gonna switch to the fill instead and just hold on. I gotta be careful to not give him a double chin. I mean, it's pretty impossible because he has a pretty chiseled jaw, but just in case, I don't want to do him dirty. Okay, looks nice. Awesome. And it starts right there and it can stop right there. Perfect. Now, what is this? This is like some sweat that I have to create an outline around. Hopefully it translates. We're going to find out whether it will or not. What I want to do is add like all of these little chips like this. Not too many, but just create kind of like that look to it. And then here, there's like that white highlight. So I almost just want to bring this in here without touching that other side. We might end up doing some jump stitches. Who knows? We're gonna find out. Ooh, interesting. All right, let's keep going up. How does that look if I go 1 to 1? I see. We're gonna see what that looks like once we embroider it. I'm quite confused whether or not that's going to be a little too much or not, but it's okay. And for these, it might be easier to just create a white stitch on top of the black color stitch. But for now, let's create this outline around the teeth. Add like a couple of these details right here. Like so. Go over here, create this part. Nice. We can go inside because this part is definitely gonna get hidden underneath the tatami that I'll be creating. Add just these tiny little details. Awesome. And for this part, what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch to a fill, and I'm just gonna go around with a fill and create the inside of the teeth. I'll do my best to go around. The tongue, we're not gonna touch it because that's part of the dark gray. So that looks pretty good. Let's do 1-1, take off the image. I mean, yeah, that looks, that's looking like a mouth. I think that's looking like a mouth, right guys? Maybe what we have to do is change the angle of it, possibly like this, or possibly like this. Let's leave it up like that. I think that looks pretty awesome. Yeah, I like that. I'll just add a couple more outlines right here to define more of the mouth as much as possible. And right here, there's a couple of these. So again, I'll go back and forth a few times, back and forth. That's pretty good. Let's keep going. Move up this way. Let's create this little lip part. Awesome. Back and forth a couple of times. We're gonna close this up because even though there's like a gap right there, I feel like it's just better to not jump, and instead we create these you know, these tiny little connections. It's better than the machine trimming, I think. It's too small. So I'm just gonna create this quick little circle. Perfect. Now let's go back and return. Nice. Try and do a couple of these. Awesome. Move up this way. Create this super thick eyebrow with lots of details in the eyebrow. Back and forth, back and forth. Cool. I'm gonna try to not forget shapes because I feel like, yeah, there's like a bunch of little details that is gonna make it a little too easy to forget some shapes. So I'm trying to at least go over everything just a tiny bit. This one's a little out of the way, so I'm just gonna move it a little bit more like that. Awesome. And I was trying my best to create all of these shapes. Back and forth, back and forth. And I think I'm gonna connect this right here. So again, to avoid just that tiny little trim. There's just no reason to trim if it's so close to another, you know, stitch. Let's go up. Oh, is this the eye? Yeah, I guess he has a nice eye. He might be in pain. He might not be mad. He's probably in pain because he was digitizing and his program crashed and he forgot to save his work. Hit like on this video if that's happened to you. Okay, let's grab this right here. Let's do a couple of these details. Awesome. And I'm gonna go back and forth on a couple of these. Cool. Create a bunch of these tiny details. I mean, here I feel like I just want to do another tatami, but I don't know. Let's see. Should we do a tatami? Let's find out. I'm gonna switch to a fill. Oh man, is it gonna be too tatamied? No, that looks cool actually. Let's change the shape though to go like that. Yeah, that looks nice. And switch back to single stitch. Let's go finish this whole area of the ear. For this one, I need to make sure that it finishes at the top. Don't want to forget. So in the last design, I kind of lost track of where the scissors are, and when you're starting with this, you'll notice that you probably might get a little bit lost. And honestly, even if you get lost and you end up trimming a couple times, it's completely fine, because ultimately with digitizing, the more you practice, the better you get. And that's pretty much it. With great practice comes great responsibility. All right, go back. And let's go all the way back up here. Awesome. Does that even look like sweat? Let's find out. I need to know if I zoom out, if it'll look like sweat. Take off the image. I mean, yeah, it does look like he's sweating. Even I'm sweating a little bit. It's pretty hot in this room. I'm feeling his pain. Okay, let me enable the image again. Let's again, that's a big jump, but you know what? I really don't want to trim. And it's funny because I'm not even trimming, the machine is trimming, but I really like to avoid that as much as possible. Okay. I just like to know that my doodling, my digitizing was done all in one go without stopping. I feel like that's always my ultimate goal whenever it comes to me creating any sort of design. So you can see that whenever it is that I'm doing anything in digitizing, I just try to avoid it, even if, it goes against exactly what the design it looks like, aka those little spaces that we just jumped over, like this one right here. If you don't know what I'm talking about that. But I think it's okay because it still looks pretty awesome. Here, I'm just gonna create a bunch of hatches. And I'm gonna move these a little bit more this way. Cool. Hatches back and forth, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and return. And yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of a shadow, so I don't wanna go too overboard on that area. Let's see. I might have done it just a little bit, but it's okay. No big deal. All right, let's keep going. Okay, as you can see, I really like adding all these tiny little details. Definitely adds to the design. Have you guys had a chance to try out creating anime ever since that video was released? Please let me know in the comments. And if so, what's your experience been like doing this so far? I was pleasantly surprised at how easy it truly was to create that anime eyes, and it really feels like it's kicked on this like new idea of like, I just want to do everything cartoon and anime style from now on. It's honestly so much fun for me. For the longest time, I thought that I was never gonna move on from the mouse, and I thought that mouse was, the ultimate tool for digitizing, but I think that being able to sketch like this has almost changed my mind on what I think the perfect, tool is for creating these types of artwork. In a way, it just makes them look a lot more natural. I don't know if that makes any sense. Maybe more manual. Let me put that up there. Actually, no, let's keep the shape of these because these are going this way. So I want to make sure that that goes the same way. So again, I want to start it there. I'm going to end it right there. And let's switch back to the single run. Go this way. Yup. Nice. Now this again, you can see how thick it is. You could totally get away with doing a satin outline if you really wanted to. And maybe, you know what? If this video does really good, I'm gonna try doing an anime design with satin outlines because I definitely love the way satin outlines look. But I'm trying to show you guys more of like this artistic way instead. But if you guys want me to show you, then like this video and maybe I'll show you soon. Okay, let's keep going this way. Up. Gotta make sure I select the right button. I almost selected the wrong one right there, which would have cost me to create a new shape or but I'm not making that same mistake again because I learned from the last tutorial how to fix it up or how to avoid that. which is by being more careful. See, I really like the red line that I created earlier in this tutorial, because again, if I didn't have that, I could have possibly like gone here, or like, I don't really know what my limit is, but because I created this line right here, I know exactly where to stop. And that's the whole point of that. You don't necessarily need it, especially if you're gonna use some, you know, some solid underlays, but I'm just gonna keep it because it doesn't bother me, and it helps me a lot to keep track of where the limit of this design is gonna be. Cool, just do a couple of these. Awesome. Let's go back. And here, let's do a couple of zigzaggies. Zigzaggies, yeah. Or scratches. What should we nickname these guys? Should we nickname them scratches, zigzags, war tattoos? What do they even call these in scuffs? Scuffs, never mind. It's not zigzaggies. We're creating scuffs right now. Because that's what it is. He's definitely, you could say he's been on a fight, or he's just been training too hard, so he's currently scuffed. All right, make sure you get that sweats. Otherwise, I'd be disrespecting. Creating these. Back and forth, back and forth. Cool. All right. It's almost giving me like tiger vibes. Like these stripes and everything kind of looks like a tiger, the skin of a tiger. Or am I just going crazy? Possibly. What do you guys think? Does it look like a tiger? I think it's mostly because about a couple years ago, I tattooed a friend, and I tattooed a tiger on her leg. She wanted the tiger to be just red colors. So ever since then, I've thought of like tiger textures to be red, and it definitely doesn't look like that. I'm just trying to finish these without trying to cage myself in. So I'm gonna use this shape right here as an exit. Cool. Oh no, I'm trapped. I'm just kidding. Let's go back here and let's go to this edge so that we can still travel. Guys, if you find yourself being caged, don't worry, just return, even if it takes like a couple extra stitches here and there. Again, we're just trying to avoid jump stitches and trims and all of that. So far we have none, and I couldn't be more proud of this design. All right. Awesome. Let's finish this right here. Try our best to, you know, make it as accurate as possible. Let's go 1-to-1. Let's take off the image. Whoa, that looks pretty cool. That actually looks so detailed. Nice. I'm excited to see how the rest is gonna look. Let's disable the 3D. If you guys find that your Design Doodler is stuttering a little bit, simply disable 3D every time you're panning and you're moving around, and then enable it once you're done and you know where you want to keep working on. So I'm just gonna travel this all the way to this side. You can see the difference in the speed of my panning when I have the 3D on versus off, but to me it's fine. I don't really mind a little bit of that stutter that it takes. It's okay. And it's mostly because I just love the way the 3D looks. Makes it more fun to digitize when the 3D is on. Just do this area right here. And for these hairs, we're just gonna create the, what am I gonna do? Like 4 passes on each? Something like that. A couple passes. Just to make them a little cooler. Oh, totally changed the shape of that hair right there. That's okay. It's a little bit lower. And up and down, up and down, up and down. And for this part, I'm just gonna switch it to a fill, create the fill. Phil, what are you doing here? His name is not Phil. Oh, let me just finish grabbing this, bring it all the way up here. Start, stop, perfect. Switch back to the single stitch. Let's keep going. And I think for now, we can work on the rest of this. We're gonna add these little details. I'm doing my best to stay on that outline, and let's create this shape right here, starting with this one. Up and down, back and forth couple times. You know, it doesn't have to be too perfect. I'm happy with the shapes because I think it looks even more anime, more hand-drawn, like I keep saying. I know I sound like a broken record, but to be fair, there's only so many things I can say about it. Maybe comment down what your favorite anime is. My favorite manga is definitely Berserk, and it is not for children, so If you guys are interested in reading that, just ensure that you are into more mature subjects. But I do find the story to be really, really interesting. That is what I'll say. The art style from Kentaro Miura is like no other, and I truly love the evolution that he had. Rest in peace. Let's go all the way down here. Cool. For this, honestly, I think I might just do one-to-one, just because it's a little too hard to be like doing all those tiny details. I think it might be better if we just stick to creating, you know, the big shape idea. So let's keep going by just creating a one-to-one. See, it's so much easier, and it's still doing the, you know, the job. I'm gonna add a couple extra, might even add a couple sweats like that. Still keeping it all in one go. It's gonna be okay. When is it not okay, guys? Even when it's not okay, everything's okay. All right, let's do these last little bits here. Let's create another raindrops that are falling on my head. Okay, oh, let me fix that a little bit better. And up, whoops. And up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Cool. All right, one-to-one. Let's now fix this little part right here. This one's a little going up, which I do not want. Perfect. That looks awesome. I like it a lot. Let's remove the image. That looks awesome. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the whole thing, and I'm going to change the color to black. Whoa. That's really cool. Now if we want to, and you know what, I just might, but we're gonna leave it. No, we're gonna leave it till the end. We can add the rectangle and we can be done with this design. But as you can see, this design has the other shadows, which is gonna add even more effects to this whole design. And it won't take us too long. If anything, what we'll do is we'll create everything with a fill tool. Let me show you how to do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the whole design again. I'm just gonna change the color to pink. Now it's a pink design, and it just makes it easier for me to see where the gray is. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the fill tool, and I'm gonna select a different color. Let's do some green so it's easier to spot one more time. Let's zoom in 1/3. Go down here, and let's start creating some of these shapes. Now for this one, I think I'm just gonna stick to doing single stitch because they're a little too small. I know I said I was gonna show you with fill, but I still think these small ones, it's better to just do single stitch as opposed to fill. Let me keep going with fill. Just try and replicate what these shapes are as best as possible, and I am going to divide them so that I can change the angle of them and give this design even more dimension. Before I forget, I'm gonna change my start and stop so you can see that it starts there, but I wanted to stop there so I can continue creating the rest. I'm gonna go one-to-one, and I'm going to disable the 3D and just pan around here. All right, I can see that I can create a full shape, and I'm gonna do my best to replicate that. And you can see I'm kind of doing the negative or the gray, and I'm avoiding the white or the highlight of this design. Whoops, I forgot to finish that area right there. No problem. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to move this little dot. First of all, I gotta move the like beginning and end right there, and I'm going to move this up here and down here so that it creates that perfect outline. Awesome. Now I can change the start and stop. Let's go 1/3. Go down here, select this one, start. Awesome. Where do I want it to stop? Probably at the face. Yeah, somewhere there is good. But you know what? Maybe, do we have anything else here? Maybe I'll make sure it stops at the ear. So let me grab this. And it's supposed to stop here, but I want it to stop by the ear. Cool. Let's create that next shape. Awesome. And I guess it's fine if it starts there as well. Cool. I'm going to grab the start and stop. Start is there. Perfect. Stop is here. And you can see that the scissors are enabled. Well, to avoid that, I'm just gonna switch to the run tool, and I'm gonna bring it and connect it to this side. Now I won't do that anymore. Let's go 1/3 so we can get a little more detail on this design. Let's just go with the run tool and go over here, and let's add some of these tiny effects so it looks even more hand stitched. Just a couple of them, it doesn't have to be too extra. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch to the fill, and I'm going to create these other shapes right here. Like that. Perfect. Let's enable it 3D so I can see what I just did. That looks awesome. Remember, we're gonna change the angles in a bit. I want it to start here, and I want it to stop right there. Cool. Move around, even do 1-to-1 so it's easier to see. And again, let's create the next shape by going all the way around. This is a big shape, so I'm gonna do my best to not fall, of course. Hey, it was pretty good. Not so bad. Nice. Now the last one, it seems that is in the mouth, so I'm gonna select it again, start and stop. The start is right there, and I want the stop to be right here. And just like I did with the previous one, I'm going to connect it by going to the single stitch right there. Cool. Now I'm gonna switch to my tatami or my fill, and I'm going to fill in that tongue. Yeah, cool. Now we could even do the back there. So those are the top teeth on the back. So you know what? Let's do those as well by creating just these shadows right here. And you know what? Let's even do these right here. I know it's hard to see, so let me just zoom in for you guys. And I'm going to move the shape right here. And I'm just going to create these shapes super quickly. Oh, we have the nose as well. Okay, I'm glad I'm moving up this way because then we don't skip the nose shadow, which is very important, of course. Start there, which is good. And we can stop right here. Perfect. And now let's do the nose. Awesome. 1-to-1. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't think there's more that we have to add. I could show you very quickly the results of this, but I think it's more fun if we tried creating the angles first. Let's do that together, shall we? Let me remove that 3D view, and let's switch to the angle tool right here. I'm going to select this one. Now everything seems to be going that way, and as you know, we created these stitches also going up. So let's almost created a bit of an angle like that way, so it doesn't directly match up with the ones that we created. Same thing with this one. This one seems like it would do a great job if it was going that way. Now for this one, all of those are going like that, so I think just a little bit like that would look best. This tongue looks good like that. These teeth, I think I'm gonna make them go directly north, or at least at a 45 angle. Same thing with this one. With the nose, let's also set it up that way. What about with this? That's pretty good. This one right here, what do we do? That's nice. I do like it like that. And this one, we're just gonna angle it that way. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Now, I'm not even gonna enable 3D yet. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this big area, and we're gonna go under our properties, and under properties we're gonna put travel on edge. Okay, we're gonna grab all of the big shapes that we created, and we're gonna select travel on edge. So for this one, travel on edge, I'm going to select this tongue again, travel on edge. I'm going to select these teeth, travel on edge, travel on edge. Let's select the nose, travel on edge. Let's move around real quick. Let's select this one right here, travel on edge. Let's move around this way, and let's not forget these two, travel on edge and travel on edge. Cool. 1-to-1. I'm still not gonna show you guys yet because the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the leaf green. I'm gonna bring it to that top above the pink, so the leaf green is gonna stitch first, and let's change the color to a dark gray. I think this one's pretty good. Now let's change the pink to a black color. All right, and the last thing is let's take out the image and enable 3D. Whoa, that's looking pretty cool. That is very interesting. Guys, I know I already said this, but if you really wanted to, you could be done right now. If anything, I would do one more pass of the single stitch just to add even more of like that density to it. But because I like the satin outlines and the satin borders, we're gonna switch to the steel tool. We're gonna select, what is it, 4 millimeters. Maybe we'll switch it to 5. We're gonna create a rectangle going from here to this end like so. Awesome. Again, I'm going to click 1 to 1. I'm going to move up here, and with tool I'm going to select this one, bring it down to about yay. That's pretty good. And then go all the way down here and grab this one and bring it up to about yay. Cool. Now, last thing, of course, we got to set up the rectangle itself. So I want to select the rectangle. Let's go to open the brother, select the rectangle, make sure nothing else is selected. Cool. Rectangle, settings, under settings, we're going to switch this to 5. I want it at 5. We're going to add an underlay of zigzag, and we can change the start and stop so that it doesn't have to trim and it continues under that same stitch. So again, I'm just going to select the border, switch to this, start and stop. Perfect. That's awesome. And now we can see the results. Let's see. Settings, view, slow redraw, play. And you can see it's doing the dark gray first. It's going to be doing all of that. And then when it's done, it's going to be creating the black outlines, the black satins. Well, it's pretty much single stitch. And then it's going to do the rectangle. And it's 7 inches by 3.86 inches at 21,000 stitches. I'm pretty happy with that. And we have one more thing to do, and that is to embroider this design. So I'll catch you guys on the flippity flip. Here's the end result of this anime manga panel. I gotta say, I really love the size of this design, and I feel like from now on I'm gonna be choosing this. It's 7.2 by 3.8, which I think it looks a lot cooler. Just the size of it looks really nice, and I really enjoy the fact that I can see the background of this felt. So depending on the kind of sweater or the shirt that I'm using, I think it's gonna add that extra cool effect of this design. Now, the only thing I did notice about this design is when it was stitching out, the eyebrow area is a little bit too dense. I feel like I went a little bit overboard. Maybe I got too excited when I was digitizing it. So now I feel like I have a new limit on how many little zigzags I do. And instead I'm going to stick to doing 2 passes, maximum 4 passes. But it still did a pretty good job, especially compared to the tatami. But you can still see just a little bit that it's almost becoming a little bulletproof, and that is what we're trying to avoid here. Again, if you don't know what bulletproof is, make sure to click the link in the description so you guys check out our cheat sheet for digitizing. But the rest of it, I mean, it's really nice. I feel like I had a mission to avoid creating any jump stitches, and I managed to create that because this design didn't jump at all. But I would love to know what you guys think. Did you find this to be easier than last tutorial, or did you think this was a little more complex? Please let me know that in the comments. I would love to know your thoughts, and also comment down what you guys want to see next, because honestly I feel so excited creating these kinds of designs, so I would love to get more into this style of art. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy doodling, watch this video next, and I'll see you on the next tutorial. Take care guys, bye bye.